Hey everybody, Thomas Blair here,
And I am Mark Hallish.
and this is our April edition of the ACE Q&A, where you send us questions and we answer them. Okay, first question. Pre-Alpha 1 and 2 backers can't use the buildings that came with their packages. Namely, those are our most gigantic buildings, the Citadel and the Mountain Palace. And why can't they use them?
Well, the biggest why is they're not done yet, right? So I mean, as soon as they're available, we will make them available to you.
And there you go. So the next one is a big giant block of text on Eternal Kingdom server management and a worry by the player on how we're going to run all these instances and make it all work.
How's it gonna work?
And to that I have to say we have a lot of very smart engineers who are working on this problem as we speak. And running lots of instances is what computers are really good at doing. So let's hope that they can figure out all the nuances. Okay, so the next question is about skills training promotion classes. And basically somebody is questioning that they're able to start training all three at the same time. Is it intentional to be able to train more than one at a time? And are the skills even active? What do you think about that, Mark?
I think the skills are most definitely active because, hey, we found a few skills here and there that had improper values, for example. But yeah, skills most definitely work, and you are getting them, and you should be getting the benefits for all your skills.
Okay, yes, the regular skills, but how about the promotion class skills?
Oh, promotion classes. Yes, that's
Yes.
right. That was the trick in the trick question.
Yes, that was
yes. Promotion classes. They're not in the game yet.
Yeah, in fact, the skills are all roughed out, but I never hooked up any stat data to
Yeah,
those things.
they're basically. I mean, you're training empty boxes if you're training.
Yeah, a lot of the skills, and this is a question we see almost every week, which is, hey, I've trained the blunt arrows and the
Right.
slashing arrows, and I can't equip them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because skill trees can't grant equips yet.
Right.
We just got that functionality online for disciplines, and we will migrate it over to the skill trees once we have some time. But right now, it's not a priority, and a lot of the things that we're saying in there are stubs.
Right.
Right.
Right. I mean, a lot of this is going to come out like we're doing a lot of discipline work right now behind the scenes.
A lot.
Lots and lots and lots of discipline work right now. But you'll definitely see. I mean, that the tech that goes into that is going to feed into promotion classes and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, some of those skills, they say things, they don't actually work. They will work in the future because we're planning for, hey, one day an engineer just writes this thing,
Right.
and all of a sudden 15 skills just magically work. The ones that grant stats generally work right now, pretty much 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones that do exotic things like grant recipes that doesn't actually work.
Right.
New trays, that stuff doesn't. None of that portion of it works yet, but we're just mapping it out. All right. Okay, here's a bunch of combat and just general gameplay questions. Does support power now give healing power?
Yes, it does.
So basically, increasing your support power increases your heals.
Yep, that is correct.
All right, and it
Pretty
works.
much. And I guess more information on that, and maybe it'll tie into the other one about. I think there's one about attack power in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much one support power, one attack power is equal to roughly one DPS or one HPS. Heal per second, damage per second.
Yeah, so those are working and functional. We don't have a combat log as of yet, so it's kind of hard to track those things, but they do work. Does armor class offer mitigation benefits?
Well, yes, most definitely yes. We're pretty confident that armor works as intended right now.
Yes, so armor class is more of a global mitigation buff to every slot that you're wearing. We answer this one a lot, and it probably tells you that we need to do some UI work around this so people understand it,
Message it a little
which
better,
is our armor is per location. So if you get hit in the chest, it looks at your chest piece. It doesn't look at your boots. It doesn't look at your gloves. It doesn't look at your helmet. It looks at your chest. So if you got hit in the chest and you weren't wearing a chest plate, you have 0.
Right, you're getting big goose egg for that.
Big goose egg. So be aware that we're not doing this kind of combinatorial thing
Right.
and evenly distributing mitigation across. It is based on that. So if you have really good boots, for example, and you get hit in the feet, it's really beneficial to you. If you often get hit in the head, it really doesn't do a whole lot for you. So that answers the armor question. Let's talk about group sizes for a minute. In the Hunger Dome, we got to try quite a few group sizes. Big world groups have capped at 5. Are you happy with 5-man groups, or do you plan on experimenting with other sizes?
I mean, never say never, but I mean, we're pretty happy with 5 right now. I mean,
Yeah,
for the
I mean,
most
what are
part,
we
it's
trying?
pretty-
We should explain what we're trying to do with the 5-man group size.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we're trying to prevent. We're trying to keep group sizes to a point where we don't let group focused abilities become too crazy, right? Because if you can have a 20-person group, then all of a sudden your group things are affecting 20 people. That that basically puts it's a lot of eggs in that basket, so to speak. So we're trying to keep our group sizes reasonable. So there's a good breadth of.
And the piece I think they're missing to a lot of this is they have the archetype now, but without the disciplines.
Right.
Right, and we're up to, I don't know, at the recent count, I think it was 30 majors that we're actually working on, just for the combat ones alone. That's going to be a lot of choice.
Yeah.
And if you could fulfill this one discipline gives something so good, but you only need it once.
Right.
Right? Then it's not really that much of a choice because one dude takes that, and now you have 9 other dudes, 10 other, whatever group size
like
is.
20 people, you could all field all the disciplines and never really.
Right, but by shrinking the group size down, we're really making that group take a hard choice on which disciplines they load out, which archetypes they bring in conjunction with that. It's actually getting kind of crazy on our end.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at all these disciplines, and you're like, well, how's this one going to work with the duelist and with the druid? Just because we're trying to go for a fundamental philosophy of if a power can be used and it has the animation, we're not basically gating it off from the archetypes.
Right.
So most of the, unlike the Shadowblade disciplines, which were very specific and catered to like vampire or whatever, ours are generally, hey, everybody can use this and you guys figure it out. Vessels. We've had the ability to craft vessels for a little while now, but cannot yet equip them. What's holding you back on this? Well, the same thing that holds us back on a lot of things. Engineering time. Right, we try and bubble up what our current milestone deliverables are, and this one's just kind of waiting for us to go by and do a phase 2 implementation on it. As our technical director likes to say, for a lot of our features, we'll just hit the big blocky portions of a feature, and we're trying to get all of those in so we can prove that the game basically works, and then we'll come through and do a cleanup pass and another phase 2 on something. So, like crafting, for example, we've broken into 3 phases. Right now, you guys have phase 1. Phase 2 will be in a upcoming soon milestone, which will be the crafting stations and blueprints. And then phase 3 is where we're going to do the factories. Your total mitigation. So we are showing the bonus amounts in the stat list. Now, the stat list is kind of hidden right now, and it'll say like bonus fire all 20%. Now, that 20% does get added to every single one of your 4 slots, assuming you had 20%, right? That is additive because that's why we call it a bonus all mitigation. But it still relies on the per hit location slot thing. So, but there was another question I was looking for where somebody was talking about basic armor and...
Oh, yeah. I saw that in there somewhere.
Anyways, the gist of that question was, why is basic armor so good and the rest of them not? And it's because we're testing armor, right? In fact, we may start juicing the stats on basic to just try and see where people are at the various mitigation levels. Because right now, you guys don't have factories and you don't have mass production, which are both key elements in the advanced armors.
Right. I mean, to really take advantage of that stuff, we're assuming you're going to have really great resources that you worked hard to collect, and you're using thralls, and you're using blueprints to make the best possible thing you can make, and then make a zillion of them, or as many as you can afford to make, and then you're selling those for mucho dinero or for your
So again, it's relying on systems we don't have. We see them in the near future, but we just don't have them right now, and we're trying to keep you guys playing and not really worrying about the things that quite aren't online yet.
Yeah, so it's really easy to just be like, hey, you know what, we're gonna put a good representative stats on the basic stuff and let you guys go to town, basically.
So long term, the basic stuff is going to get crushed down to you use it for a couple minutes until you find something better. I think that's what the lore on it says. Like, just good enough until you find something better.
Yeah.
So, again, right now, think of it as testing. You're not playing a game with that armor stuff. It will be different in the future. When will guild systems come online? Well, very similar to the vessel question, when we get the engineering time. This feature is actually up and coming, as in I think it's part of either this next milestone or the one after it. But yeah, we really want to get guilds in there. We know how important they are to you. Being able to talk in guild, being able to identify each other on the battlefield, that's all super important. Next question, spicing up the explorer tree. When we were in the early days of the game, you guys made scouting exploration seem like an exciting play option. I think the current iteration leaves a lot to be desired. Would you guys be opening for ideas for things to add to this tree? Maybe you could possibly add a scout tree as the advanced tree to explore. And then a bunch of ideas on where to go with this. And yes to all of this. I mean, again, just like a lot of the previous questions, we don't have the engineering time to build this right now.
Right.
It's a thing we want, uncovering the map, the fog of the war. I mean, if you think back 2 or 3 months, we didn't even really have the maps, right?
Yeah.
So the maps are stitching together the maps and rearranging them like Tetris pieces.
That's a big deal.
That's just a thing that just came online recently, right?
It is really cool.
And the reason we did that is so each campaign world can feel different in the long run. And the very first phase of spring and summer will have people going out and exploring the map and looking for the good POIs and all of that stuff. The best neutral keeps to take over. It's all coming. It's just we haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
That's why I think in the exploration tree we had that bottom line stubbed out for cool things to go here once tracking and all this other stuff comes online. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the ideas like terrain negotiation, sprint efficiency, mask scent. It sounds like an old Galaxies player.
Very much so. It's like, hey, I recognize all those.
Yeah, I mean, like moving
made those
uphill
before.
faster.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember thinking back to the one in Galaxies when it was in beta, and I was like, wow, terrain negotiation. I want to create a character who's a hairdresser who can run really fast up hills while other people are running slow and change their hairstyle on them, because back in those days they didn't need to hit the confirm button.
That's right. You do a drive-by.
So you could just do a drive-by image design on somebody.
Just be like curly hair.
It was pretty funny. Anyways, yes, thank you for your ideas. More stuff is coming, and as the engineers generally unlock functionality, we also do a parallel path on the skill tree to make ways to advance that through progression. So we will get to that. Final question, storage. Wow, this question is kind of, it's big and blocky, and basically it's trying to brainstorm ways to deal with storage. And people have really gotten used to the Spirit Bank as being kind of this thing that's there all the time to dump stuff into. The Spirit Bank is kind of our early testing to if we can do import and export. So don't think of that as a thing that will always be there on your back whenever you open it.
Right.
You're going to have to go to a place to use it, to put stuff in or take stuff out. It's not just available to, oh no, I see danger coming.
Right, magical, mystical void you can put your stuff in.
Right. There will be a special spot, if it's at a temple, if it's at a bank, like a local bank and a keep or whatever, that's your import-outport thing.
Outport.
Outport,
what?
Your import-export, yes. And then there were some brainstorming ideas, like can we at least have a small one, a spirit backpack that's safe?
Like a one-slot Spirit Bank? What?
Yeah, well, again, you guys are seeing early iteration that we put in for testing to prove that the tech works, that phase 1 passes in. Once we get to phase 2 on this stuff, it will become more refined, and you will have to go somewhere to use that thing. Okay, everybody, thanks for coming out for the April Q&A. We will see you next month.
See you next time.